Hello, everyone. I decided to bring in a story that came from the original book, Macabre Short Stories and Poems from the Other Side. And this was from the original book. A lot of the stories that I have been sharing with everyone are new. They have not been completely published yet. But I thought that upon request from Amber Dawn in some of the statements that were made regarding the whole Adam and Eve story, I decided to have this story shared with you and read through by Rolf, so you can kind of have an idea of that Poe had already anticipated some of these different stories from the past that maybe people might be interested in. And that was part of the original collection. So this was written around 2011 or so. And as I said, it kind of breaks the sequence of all of the new stories that were channeled. But I thought because of the particular request that we had about an Adam and Eve story, it might be interesting for you to hear what I channeled regarding that. Now, my belief system is that this is a paradigm that played out, as did many other paradigms. And is this the one and only story? I don't think so. But I believe that this was a part of a paradigm or a construct that we are currently connected to, and many people resonate with it. And so this is a perspective of how it plays out. Now, like I said, I literally just channeled this, so it wasn't, anything that I had contrived or tried to convince anyone of. I believe that, like I said, there's variations of stories of the beginning of humankind, or different, variations of revolution of humanoid species. And there's a story in Ovid too, after flood story about Deucalion and Pyrrha. So, and that's also mentioned in the original book. So it's interesting. I guess these are the common questions that people have. This is his perspective.
Eve's Plight. She lay at rest, a tragic twist. The first mother of earth was destroyed with one kiss. A serpent searched to know her loveliness and captured her deep within his trance. Come closer, my dear. I can smell sweet flowers upon your dress as the dew-drop shower. You entice me more with every motion. You seduce me with your angelic potion. Though listless in view, I know all about you. Your aloof stance has me more enticed with what you do. I see you pick a lovely fruit, then savor the taste with a passion-filled chew. You smile so sweetly, and then light on your feet, while the gentle mist hides your toes from the rest, and you seem to float on air at last. A butterfly with honeysuckle on your lips, you move so lightly to take a dip. I see you flutter as if you had wings, an angelic being with all heavenly things. Bow down to rest upon a rock, then lift so lightly to greet a hawk. You form a grace, a figure eight. Your soft billowing hair does crown you there. We know of you from times unwritten, an angel once with whom many were smitten. Now do you suppose you could change your clothes and hide from the host who loved you the most? Said the serpent. Then Eve said with a gentle voice, Do I know you, serpent? Why do you speak so plainly and lure me in to entice? I can't recall the angelic host. I am merely a woman made from the rib of my spouse. What silly words to compare me to fruit! To say I have seduced you by my gestures is ridiculous at most. Can we agree that we are two different types of species? You are not of us, nor are we of serpent-like beasts. Then the serpent changed his coat to resemble who he once was from before. His Lucifer-like stance was handsome, polished, and she became more entranced. I am as a mortal man. Feel my hand and you will understand. We are all the same, though you forgot from where you came. I retained my memory during my angelic reign. Once or twice we had played there with all the divine. You were my friend, and I am here to capture your heart again. Then said Eve, now feeling more intrigued, was it you who stood by the gate in a dream I once knew? Oh yes, that was me. I have been trying to contact thee. Can you lend me a smile, and we will soon be reconciled? Eve leaned in closer and could see his eyes were wild. Then she jumped back from his wily desire. Seeing her fear, the serpent moved with great care to dispel any worry that caused him some despair. Then he handed her a gift from the tree where he sat. Here, my sweet, take an apple as a treat. It is lovely as you, and you won't have to care about anything you do. Eve glanced up at the tree to see a beautiful delight. The branches hung heavy with delicious apples within her sight. Her eyes became fixed on the eyes of the serpent. Then she said, I must not eat of this fruit. This is the tree with the poison apples. The angel in the gate told me about this tree. I must not eat of or touch it if I want to be free. It was forbidden by our heavenly Father. He told us we could eat anything and still have a pardon, except for this tree of both good and evil. I can see you have had your fill. Partaking of both made you become a serpent. Then the serpent softly stared at Eve's honest face. The fruit is merely a gift from me to you. I do not feel any malice for what you say or do. I only want a kiss from your lips, and I will prove to you that my love is true. His sincerity was overwhelming, and she caught her breath as she felt the floor of the earth descending. He had a wily charm and the mystique of romance. The sky began to spin, and the guardian angel set her free. She had to make a decision before the good and evil tree. Once from the protection of her guardian, the serpent took no time to slither up around her as if climbing a flowery vine. A breath of air in release, then she gasped in a beautiful bliss. The serpent transformed into a man, then gave her a passionate kiss. The darkness blew of the stormiest clouds. The mantle of the earth did remove the veil of all the clouds, and the Father stood to see what had transpired. There stood Eve alone and still filled with desire. Her lips were red, but not from a kiss. She stood there with an apple, an expression of bliss. Then with anger, seething hot with rebellion, he bellowed out to reprimand his fallen angel. I suppose it was you who could not follow suit. You have not learned the lessons of truth. You know I favored you at one time. You know you spent much time with the divine. Still, You stand here in fallen grace. I taught you better than to desire the apple to taste. Eve looked at the apple in her hand as she trembled in fear and dropped it quickly to hide her disgrace. She didn't know how she was tricked into this place. Where is the serpent? He seduced me by the tree. It wasn't the apple, it was the kiss he had given me. The father searched for truth in her words and could not undo all the injury she caused. You were given free will. Did you not have your guardian to help you? I can see he is blameless, as he said you intentionally left him. However, I can see you were tempted by the serpent, who is most deceitful and full of lies. He intermingled some truth with his many woven threads of disguise. You had known him before, and he had mixed evil there with good. You didn't have much of a chance once you stepped away from where you stood. You are now in chains, and you take down the rest. The entire human race has now been exposed to a devastating test. Should you ask for forgiveness? I cannot grant it at all. You have unleashed the greatest secrets, and are now subjected to them all. From here on, the writing is on the wall. Eve wept with a burden that could not be felt. Until the end of time, she welcomed suffering in life as her punishment for this. As time did turn and new life was reborn, she continued to see the sorrow of all humankind in the world. So Eve saw the future and begged for forgiveness. Please don't punish my many generations of children. Let them make their own decisions, as I will pay for my sins in the way it is fitting for everyone. Then the time was reset, and the universe made a bet that she would be more cautious to pay back her debt. She stood there, waiting for the verdict to come, to see what needed to be done to make it right because she sinned. They put her in shackles until her work was done. They gave her hard labor to serve everyone. She was patient and true and did what they told her to do. In time, they gave her a reprieve, and they told her to leave. Go now and live as a commoner with the most simple of means. Live like a hard laborer, toiling the earth with sweat on your brow. Feel what it is like to have children with the pain of childbirth. She agreed to the terms, then humbly smiled. Is there anything more that I need to know? Can we turn back the clocks and rewrite history in time? Then the father said, we can change the patterns of your design. We can remove some of your weaknesses in time. We can help you realize that you are still connected to the divine. In the end, the consciousness of women and men will rise above all history that had them bound to the earth in sin. They can change their own reality by remembering this human fatality and keeping their eyes fixed on the higher sights, as the angels do seek the highest delights. They search the heavens from above and feel in their hearts the purest of love. All people can access this too, if they understand they are connected to me when they forgive and renew. So Eve understood and searched far in the sky to learn all the answers of the mysteries gone by. She found a deeper love, and she learned to rise above. The shackles were released from her feet, and she flew ever so lightly. She began to feel the bliss of a wind-filled happiness, and began to whisper about the lightness she now felt. I belong to myself, not to anyone else. I am free as a bird, and I soar through the air. My temper is sweet, my thoughts are complete. I sit and wait patiently for my next adventure to seek. Not much of a complainer, I stand in perfect silence. I remind myself that I don't need anyone to climb with. Free as a bird, I am followed but not caught. My time is set forth, then all mankind forgot. Not bad or forgotten, I have work to be done. I must fly to where I am most needed by everyone. Free in the air, without any care. My life is fulfilled because I know there is a reward in my adventure still. Like a soft whirling breeze of a tropical sort, I am lifted to the heavens and let go of all hindrances that cling to my coat. Lift high and arise, I reach into the skies, and I am no more. I step in and out of heaven's door. The angels await my visit, much like before. I hear their requests. My life is assessed, and I am sent to the next place where I can learn more. Then I take off my shoes. I can do as I choose. Nothing left, nor reason to sing the blues. I have been set free to ride Ezekiel's carriage. There is not a harsh word or a reason to disparage. A cliff of height, I am held upright and lift again to the cosmic plane. There the energy begins to reign. The melody of otherworldly songs, the chimes and notes are foreign in sound. I listen hard and look to see who is around. Two eyes of depth beyond what's human. I am speechless and full of repose. I stare at the many wonders in the heavens. Still quiet and waiting, what is the message that they are sending? My mind takes a spin, and I have quietly landed back on my bed. The ceiling is now closed, and I am returned to my earthly home. Still free as a bird, I fly throughout the earth and watch my body spring into motion. My spirit, soul, and body are a part here, a part there, yet there is a sense of otherworldly unison without any fear. Still grounded as a tree, the way they wanted me to be, I float again to take a glimpse of eternity. Endless seas of floating ether, my mind washes to shore like the ocean edge of an island resort. I am now captivated by the things of the earth. The painted sky of brush strokes held up high. A bright ray of sunshine that illuminates my mind. The ground cold but filled with life. There is still hope of a smile from the earth, as all life reaches to the heavens to feel its warmth. A different feeling of knowing here, though the earth is a mingling of both comfort and fear. There can be fear of lack, fear of worry, fear of fear, or other calamity. Abundance is here that cannot be measured. We are given all we need if we remember where we came from. So there you have it, a story about the fall. We can still hold the players captive if we want an excuse to rebel. We have all made an agreement. The most wise still do remember. If we take on the responsibilities of our actions, we can change our many eternal endeavors. Pass me an apple, and I'll give you a pear. We don't have to answer to anyone who doesn't care.
What I found was very interesting about this story is that they show a solution is resolved. That somehow Eve figures out what she needs to do to resolve her personal issues or karma or whatever you want to call it, and then has a true concern about what happens, the outcome of her lineage, and she wants to make sure that everything is okay in the end. And so, you see that the paradigm plays out as, the religious or biblical paradigm, and also the iconic characteristics of, the good and evil sort of playing through. However, you and I all know that we're learning from this, we're evolving. Not everything is truly black and white. And there are variations of information. There are laws and guidelines, and from this perspective, it's not just pulling from the knowledge of good and evil. He does make mention that she doesn't remember who she is, and so that's something that I keep on working with people on, is helping them to remember more about their own personal history. I know that we're supposed to be in the present time, we're supposed to have this experience, but having a little bit of understanding not only of ourselves on a personal level, but as all of us, as taking this journey as the human race, and then moving on to that next level of the ascension process, or evolving into that next level and understanding who we are, what our role is, how we perceive the powers that are around us, and levels of understanding to one another, where this paradigm and need of someone to be over us, micromanaging us and telling us what's good or evil, when we already should know on the inside what is right and what is wrong to do to one another. And so I guess this can go into a bigger discussion, but it's something to think about, and everyone may have their own perspective on it. But anyhow, this is the channel story that I received from Poe. So thank you for listening.